Now, so this example, it's using a watch service to basically keep an eye on a directory, and you can see if the user has created a file, if they've modified a file that's there, or maybe you just might be waiting for them to delete a file before you want to perform some action in that folder. So to create a watch service, there are a list of steps here. So I'm just going to read these out here. So firstly, you need to create a new watch service. So that's number one. And that is done there, instantiate a watch service. You need to use there the path. So the first thing it's done here is create a path to a certain folder. And I'm choosing the source folder here where my my chapter 5 files are. Just printing that out as well. And I'm just doing a little check there that there's a directory beforehand. So number one, you're using the path, get the file system.new watch service. After that, you need to register it on a path, register the watch service on that path, and specify which events that you're listening for. So here we have the path.register, the watch service, which is what I have on the previous line, and then a list of events that you're watching out for. So I'm watching out for any files that are created, any files that are modified, or any files that are deleted. Now I'm going back up here a little bit. I have a static import here, import static, java.nio.file, standard watch events, event kinds.star. That means that I can mention or use these entry create and entry modify without having to put that class name there on the front of them. Just having a little look in here. It doesn't give you any more information. So that's a static import. It just saves having to put like huge extensions or whatever, huge class names on the front of these, just to make the code tidier. So that was step number 2. Register the watch service on a path and specify what you're listening out for. Step 3, pop an infinite loop in your program so that your program will be continuously running. The important thing about this is when you've finished using the program, make sure and go back in and stop it. Now, if you try catch in case something goes wrong there. So that was number 3. Number 4, and I have all these numbers listed below here. Number 4, get a watch key from the watch service by calling the take method on the watch service. So we have our watch service created there in step 1. .take, and that will give us a watch key object. And when we have that key object there, it's been used underneath the next step to call poll events on the watch key, which will return a list of watch event objects. So that key, watch key, poll events has been called on it. That is giving back a list or a collection of watch key events. And that event then we'll see down below. We can there switch on the event. So the events are basically what we're looking out for. Is it something been created, has something been modified, or has something been deleted? So essentially there, that event here is what we've said that we're listening out for. So that was number 5. We're polling events, basically listing all the events that are happening that we're looking out for. Number 6 there, you're using the watch event object to retrieve the event that occurred, be it the create, the modify, or delete, and you can also find out the file name as well that one of those events has happened on. So what we have here is anytime there's something change in the directory, I'm printing out the type of event, so it's going to basically print out that it's a path. A count, it's usually 1 or 2. It's usually 1 or 2 to some random number. It's usually 1. And the context there, that will give the file name. Would have made more sense if it was called file name, but it's not. So the switch here, so that just allows me to output, a nicer message. We lost some events. I don't think that's going to happen, that overflow. So when a file is created, I'm printing out that event count there. 1 was created. If there was a modify, that's something, the context, let's give the file name, that whatever file was modified or a file was deleted. The last thing you need to do then is just, when it's finished looping, you're just going to do there a key.reset. So reset the key to receive subsequent events. If you don't reset it, you'll only receive the first set of events. now. So what I'm going to do just to demonstrate this working, I'm going to run that program. Now remember, it's an infinite loop, so you need to come back and stop it again. I have it on the source folder in my code examples OCP, so I have that here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new text document. You can see there down the bottom. So I have a link to a path, you know, just a reference to whatever the file name. Count is 1. I think it's nearly always 1. The context there, that's the current name of the document. And I've just printed out 1 was created. I possibly think that should probably be the file name that was created there. That might be a typo by me. If I call this Sandra Testing and I hit return here, that's going to be a modification in this folder. So we can see there that, if I just go back, look, this is interesting. So a new text document was created. And when I renamed it, it actually deleted the new text document and created a new one. So there you go. If I open this up and I just type something in here, hello, and I hit save, you can see there that it's reporting that it was modified. And if I do that again, and save that again, it was modified, and just close the file down there, no change from closing it. And then finally, if I delete that file, I just hit the delete key there, you can see that it was deleted. So I'm going to go stop this program there now. So that is how to keep basically an eye on a certain folder. You create your path, the folder you want to keep an eye on. Create a watch service. So you're using your path, that get file system.new watch service. Then you register that watch service for which events you're listing out for. So listing, create, modify, and delete. An infinite loop. Then you're saying watch service.take. So you can see there retrieves and removes next watch key, waiting if none are present. Okay, so it'll give basically the events that I'm looking out for. You can have access to those. Poll events, that's basically watching out for anything that happens. It'll report it back here, and I'll then have a loop of all those events. So down here, basically the switch statement, I'm saying, well, you know, if it's a create, I'm going to print out that. I think that should be the context there. The file name would make more sense. I'm going to change that so it's done for next time. So just looking at the switch there for, you can capture each event and do whatever you want then, or give the message to the user or something. And that's it. And finally, it's recommended that you reset so you will get the next set of events there. And that's it. That's our watching a file for, or watching a directory for any changes.